Hi everybody. So it is night time, but I still feel called to do this tarot reading for whoever has asked for guidance. I just shuffled the cards right now and I thought that it's a good time to let the collective know what are the messages that are wanting to come out for them. So I drew out these pocket archetype cards, the wild unknown archetype cards, and I got these four cards. And let me read out one by one what each card is. This is the comic. The comic represents for a person who doesn't take himself or herself too seriously, and it is to say that this person is able to take themselves out objectively of a situation, some tragic situation or a heavy situation, and still able to see the situation with some kind of lightheartedness or clarity, and they're able to poke fun at themselves. So it's not something that everybody is able to do. It takes deep insight and courage, and also to not take oneself too seriously. But it should not fool a person to assume or think that this person is actually a fool. He might appear like a court jester, but actually he's one with great experience in life, and hence he's able to have a perspective that not everything needs to be taken that seriously. Right after that, we have the mother card. This is a very interesting card. Usually you would think the mother is protective and nurturing and nourishing, which without a doubt it is all of those things. And you can see in this card also, the depiction is of mother of pearl. The pearl growing within the oyster, where it is very comfortable, it is protected, it is nourished. But to be taken out, the mother or the oyster has to be disturbed, or it has to be killed, basically, from what I understand. The process of taking out the pearl is something similar is happening in this card. So the mother, when she has the baby delivered for the first time, she holds the baby for the first time, clings on to the baby, only for her to realize in time that she's supposed to let go of this child, because though the child has come of her, but it is not her. It is not her own. It is not she herself. So she needs to learn to detach. So this card has a very interesting connotation, where it's saying that while you might have a situation where you are learning to love as a mother, like the mother, not as a mother, you're learning to love like a mother, but you're also learning to detach from the situation, because that's how you love it. It also reminds me of a child wanting to hold a small sparrow in its hands, because it is very curious about this sparrow and loves to see it flitting, loves to see it's different from human beings and it has life on its own. But if it holds it too hard in his or her hands, then it would be squeezing the life out of the sparrow unknowingly. It's the same for this card. When this card comes up, there is a situation, and clearly you can see in the tarot cards, you see the 9 of cups over here. It is, to me, it looks like a lover's card, or the 2 of cups, and we'll come to this later. But to me, this looks like a romantic reading. It looks like a love reading for me, where somebody is being guided to not take things too seriously, and kind of be in that fifth house when we study Vedic astrology, Jyotish, where fifth house stands for fun, flirtation, courtship, and just seeing where things go. And it's coming out of a place of experience, deep experience, the need to not know everything at the outset, just right off the bat. When you meet somebody, you have to see things, and you have to keep things a little open and not so tight and not so rife with expectation that things seem to be locking in and kind of becoming a burden, a pressure that you have to confine to certain rules of being because you're together, you have to do some things. That's not how the fifth house works. It's a house of fun, it's a house of let's see where these things go, right? Then the next card is the destroyer card. The destroyer card, the first thing that came to my mind is the third eye and Shivji. Bhagwan Shiv destroys things which need closure, destruction. And the reading is also similar of this card, that it says it's like a end, closure of jobs, relationships. These are things that are given as an example in this card's reading, but from what I understand is that this situation requires you to have a different perspective, and there is something happening around your situation where you are being forced in a situation, forced to confront certain old patterns and habits of yours which are becoming an obstruction for this light-hearted fifth house flirtatious courtship energy. You're probably used to doing things in a fashion which is a little strict and stern and by the books, very structured, very saturnine. And over here, Lord Shiva, who is also ruling deity of Shani, a lot of Shani remedies are done by chanting Lord Shiva's mantras. So he's helping you to destroy some rigid patterns of yours which are based on fear, which are you've been clinging to these patterns because of certain the way you grew up, the environment that you grew up in. Maybe it showed you where you have to do things, you were told you have to do things in a certain way because you were not really raised by very emotional caregivers or emotionally mature caregivers, which by the way most of boomers are. They didn't really have time. I have a theory based on where you grew up. If you were not growing up in the most prosperous nations of the country, you were struggling probably to make ends meet, your parents were, or there was a sense of a struggle, and it's not just their struggle, they've been carrying it in their DNA because they have been looted by the colonial rulers, and they have had struggles for many generations. So this kind of pattern is continued in the DNA, because of which emotional care was not given to the millennials, or the millennials have kind of suffered the in between, in terms of emotions. So they struggle with their relationships, right? So I feel this reading is probably directed towards millennials, and to help you overcome that tower moment of your life where you are being forced to confront certain old habits, where you are required to break patterns. I'm seeing you have help by prayer, by surrendering. So this card, prayer, generally is about you accepting that you don't really have the say or power in every single step of your life. When you surrender to the higher power, you kind of tune into them, right? And you realize that okay, there is something that can help me out, even though I may have screwed up things for myself, messed up things. That is what generally happens. We use our intellect too much, and we end up screwing things for ourselves. We think we know what we are doing, but our perspectives are so limited. And the brain is a funny place where we feel that we'll be able to calculate things like we are taught in school in maths, कि एक sum कर लिया, एक problem कर लिया, so you got the answer. But it's not like that. Life is a lot more complex. It's only while we are facing those challenges we realize, oh, we are actually not well adept to solve these problems, because we don't even have the tools. This is the first time I'm encountering such problems, and it's not a bad sign. It's a great sign, of at least awareness, that you're aware that you're not capable of solving them. So not everything is within our hands and our reach, and prayer is a beautiful method of connecting to the divine and surrendering to the divine and telling them that, hey, I am in tune with your plan, I accept whatever you have for me, and I'll go with whatever you're telling me, whatever it is. So there is a lot of go with the flow energy over here and surrender which is being asked. And there is definitely this destroyer card which is validating you that you have issues in letting go, in going with the flow. So you have access to a higher power by the prayer. I see when you surrender to the higher power, which is like simple prayers throughout the day. If you're connected to some higher power, guru, spiritual energies, whatever you might refer them to as, you have access to good guidance is what I'm getting. So there is hope, there is overall the cards look good for me. Now let's go on to the tarot cards. So we have the 9 of Cups. So 9 of Cups in this deck is based on some Iranian folktale where the princess is very choosy and she doesn't like any princes and she keeps rejecting them, but one particular princess set his heart on and eyes on the princess, so he dresses up like a woman to enter the harem and gets to know her, befriends her, and then they become lovers. They eventually do become lovers because the princess realizes that she's really fond of the prince. So you can see 2 women over here looking dressed up as women, one of them is a man, definitely. And the man convinces her to fall in love with her, charms her, So maybe that's the situation you are in. You are rejecting somebody's overtures. Somebody is interested in you, but you, because of your old patterns and old habits, and you feel that things should be a certain way. So there is a word in Hindi called asakti, which means preference. Preference is a very mild word to put it, but actually it means aversion and attraction. So asakti can be both positive and negative. Positively it is attraction and negatively it is aversion, but neither of them are good in life. You should not have an aversion or attraction towards anything, because these are extreme situations. That's not being in the present, it's not being in the middle. Because if you have a preference for something, preference, like I said, is a mild word. These are extremes. If you have too much of an attraction for something, it will be very difficult for you to move from that moment or that place of attraction to neutrality, or to move to something which is better for you, as the surrender card, as the prayer card, and the surrender and the go with the flow energy is telling us. So I feel that there will be a situation, comical situation, where somebody will try to get your attention to the extent that they will figure you out and understand what ticks for you. Get to your harem. So get to a private mind space of yours which nobody has accessed, and you will give them access happily, and you will befriend them. You will be fooled by their intentions first, because definitely their intentions are not to just befriend you. Their intentions are to become your lover, right? And then we have the Page of Coins. So the Page of Coins is a light-hearted energy. Again, it kind of matches the comic and the prayer, where this person is still young at heart or energies, and what they're approaching with you with is a tangible offer, a very small offer. It's not a very solidified or a very major kind of offer, but they'll still come with something to you. And with these 2 reindeers, I feel, because these are exotic animals, it will be in a place or situation which will be slightly different, upbeat, upscale, little exotic. It might be while you're traveling. You might encounter this person while you're traveling, because I see the Fool also. The Fool over here is the mermaid, where she knows that it's a step, you're taking towards discovering something new. There are warnings, and this comes just under the destroyer card. So it makes me feel that although you're aware of your own internal struggles, fighting your own internal demons, dealing with your old patterns, breaking those old patterns, but you're still looking forward, because the Fool is a major arcana, and it is showing that no matter what your situation is, you will still take the leap of faith like the mermaid does, to go towards the human that she's fond of. The human is also fond of her, she's also fond of him, and she takes a leap of faith to come out of her merfolk people, the mermaid and the merfolk people, that who tell her don't go outside the water, don't venture out of merland, and it's not going to be good for you if you fall for a so-called human, right? But she, in spite of the warnings like these fish are giving her, she goes with little innocence and faith. And the Page of Coins is also telling me that you will be charmed for sure. The Nine of Cups is a wish fulfillment card. So there will be wish fulfillment on both the sides, the person who's pursuing you and your wish also. So you will go for it, because intuitively you will know that there is something for you in it, and it has some kind of connection. The Strength in reverse tells me so the story is about a girl who goes in a forest and she gets pregnant by a kind of lion monster that you see over here, and that's not supposed to happen. So she goes back again in the forest and confronts him. Hey, why did you make me pregnant? And then this monster explains to her that he's actually a man, and he's trapped by a witch who has turned him into this weird lion come crocodile monster, and the only way to survive is for somebody to hold him through the night. And that's what she does. In spite of being made pregnant by this monster or this man, she holds him, and she realizes that the way to handle this guy is his demon, his carnal sense is to hold his mouth. So there's something about your person who speaks a lot, and you know how to gently make them quiet. I think you have a very quieting presence. This came out in reverse. So you overall have a very quiet kind of demeanor. It's not that you don't speak or you speak less, or you are a quiet person, you are awkward, or like that. But there is something about you where you are very grounded. The energy that you give off to people is that you know who you are, so you do not need you do not feel the need to explain yourself too much. And that's where your quiet comes from. You don't explain situations too much to yourself also. I feel there is somebody who's practicing non-judgment over here on themselves and on other people in situations, because they realize that ultimately it's a waste of energy. This person, whoever I'm reading for, it seems that person is very spiritual, because the Surrender card has come out. Again, I'm calling it the Surrender card, but actually I'm talking about the Prayer card, because the overlying essence is surrender. And you have the Strength card, where this person is very quiet and grounding. So in your presence, the person who is approaching you, they will also be grounded or quieted. But because it has come out in reverse, there is something going on major in their life, because of which they are not grounded. So there is something about them approaching you. You are also heeding to their call, and there is much excitement in this person's life. But currently they are facing some kind of challenges which require them a lot of strength, and they are feeling exhausted right now. They don't have the strength right now to make this situation happen. So it seems to me it's a divine timing. There is some work that you are also doing on your own, although both of you are kind of looking forward to this. The Strength card in the end is kind of telling me that hey, There is some waiting to be done. I'm looking at more cards to clarify the strength card. I got 7 of coins. 7 of coins is traditionally a waiting card. This is telling me that you work on yourself and things will happen when they have to, because anyway these last two cards are very Ketu energy for me, very spiritual energy. Somebody who goes quiet, knows how to maintain their own balance. They need quiet to kind of correct the wrongs of the day or the hyperactivity of the day more than the wrongs, right? Another card that I'm taking out is the death card for this situation. Yes, like I said, the destroyer and the death card, they have similar themes. So there is transformation going on in both of your lives. And as I'm reading for you, my collective, I'm also realizing that there is a lot going on in the current astrology transits. We have a Sun Saturn absolute conjunction tomorrow, I think, tomorrow or day after. And it's not easy. And then we have Mars, Mercury, and Rahu together in Aquarius, and they've been there for quite some time, although thanks God we have Mercury going direct, okay, after the 21st. So there is a lot of activity which is happening around work, leadership, office politics, I feel. And there is something which is happening, which is creating this internal transformation for both of you. Some of you might be going through your 7.5 Saturn cycle, the Sade Sati, where Saturn transits over your moon, one sign before on the moon and one sign afterwards. So that is also a very, it's a period of karmic justice. What you have sown, so shall you reap. This is the time that you're reaping and facing some challenges for resets in life. Saturn returns are good times for resets in your life. So I feel one or both of you are going through that phase in your life. And we have this oracle card, summer. So summer is when you have harvested. Let me just read out what it means from the book. Nice, it's just in the end. I'm just reminded of a song. Summer's gone away, you're not looking same. I'll link the song. Summer is burning with energy, bursting with energy. The sun is high, weather is warmer. I think where I am right now, the sun is really burning us and scorching us. That's why I said burning away. And the nights are shorter. Summer brings increased growth for all living things, but all this energy and unrestricted growth can get out of hand. Increased growth means increased attention is required to manage your project, so you ensure everything unfolds properly. The summer card means it's an optimal time for expansion, but it also tells you to keep an eye on the energies in your life so that they stay focused and productive. If you don't tend your garden, it will become overgrown and scraggly. Some endeavors will fail as others overshadow them, like a vine strangling a beautiful plant. So, reflection: what parts of your life can expand to feel more fulfilled? Great. So, while I was reading, it did connect with the other cards and what I said just now. You are both going through your internal transformation. So summer is telling me you are very busy with a lot of things on your plate. Like the Sade Sati brings a lot of the Saturn return. It brings a lot of tasks to you, to what your current routine looks like. So there might not be much time for you to notice internal shifts that you're going through, but they are happening. They are definitely happening. There are events around you which are forcing you to kind of relook at the way you have been doing things traditionally, not just in your dating life, which it seems to me this is the reading about, but a lot of your dating life, courtship is being affected by what is happening in your life otherwise. So do let me know in comments if this reading resonated with you. Thank you so much.